Newsbrief. Tripwire Interactive has announced that its now decade-old game series Killing Floor has brought in over $100 million in revenue since its start. The original Killing Floor began as an Unreal Tournament 2000 and far more that eventually took on a life of its own. The series now includes 3 titles: 2009 as Killing Floor, 2016 as Killing Floor 2, and the 2017 video game Killing Floor Incorporated version. Between those 3 titles, Tripwire says the franchise has sold nearly 10 million units and attracted the attention of 15 million unique players. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate surpassed 5 million sales during its first week on shelves, according to a report from Japanese newspaper Nikkei. While Resetter, that figure includes both physical and digital sales, and would make sense given we know the game has already sold over 2 million units in US and Japan combined. Earlier this week, Ultimate became the fastest-selling Switch game of all time in the States, after shifting 3 million copies in 11 days, while also becoming the fastest-selling title in the Super Smash Bros. Franchise. The massive brawler also performed well on home soil, and sold 23 million retail copies in Japan during its launch weekend, another record for the series. That performance has already had a positive impact on Switch sales, and Nintendo hope for the title will continue to drive hardware over the holidays. The tools of game development can be used to help train astronauts at their voyages toward the edge of known space. Undead TD last year a panel of voted space devs and experts from Boeing and Amazon took the stage to explain how. It was an earnest discussion, exploring the many ways training tools can and are being used to support space exploration, as well as design best practices, the future of the Mr. training, and why sometimes you need to train for problems you did not even know existed yet. If you missed seeing it live, good news, the panel is now available to watch for free on the official TD YouTube channel. In addition to this presentation, THEGDC Vault and its accompanying YouTube channel offers numerous other free videos, audio recordings, and slides from many of the recent game developers' conference events, and the service offers even more members-only content for TD Vault subscribers. Those who purchased all access passes to recent events, like TD, would already have full access to TD Vault, and interested parties can apply for the individual subscription via the TD Vault subscription page. Group subscriptions are also available. Game-related schools and development studios who sign up for TD Vault Studio subscriptions can receive access for their entire office, accompanied by contacting staff via THEGDC Vault Group subscription page. Finally, current subscribers with access issues can contact TD Vault technical support. The hardest part about making a successful indie game is getting people to notice it. There are a number of ways to reach out and find your audience that are quite well known, incorporated including Twitter, Discord, YouTube and Facebook. These are used by most indie developers to drum up support for their games. But what if I told you most indie developers do not use these platforms in the correct way? The two biggest culprits are Twitter and YouTube. But the same argument applies to all social media platforms. I am going to tell you how you can subtly change the way you use Twitter to improve your chances of success. But more importantly, I want to share with you how you can use YouTube to build a huge community that is not only interested in the current indie game you are making, but all indie games you will ever make. And it does not involve emailing thousands of YouTube streamers To discuss the basic concept, let's start with Twitter. Twitter is a fantastic social network for indie developers, and probably the first place a developer goes to build up a community. There are some fantastic popular hashtags, which can really help get a lot of eyes on your games, including #GameDev, Indeed and #Screenshot Saturday. However, eyes on your work does not necessarily translate to paying customers. I do not like using the term paying customer for such an artistic passion. But if we are being realistic, this is the decider on the commercial success of an indie game. The issue is that most of the audience behind #GameDev, Indeed and #Screenshot Saturday are either fellow developers or press. Both of these audience groups are very valuable and should not be ignored. Other developers provide a great environment to share your passion with peers, and the press can be a huge help in promoting your game. However, they do not necessarily translate into someone who will go out and buy your game. I, as a fellow developer, love tracking the progress of other indie games and put as much support behind them as I can. However, the fact that I develop video games in my spare time means that I rarely have time to play them. Therefore, I do not buy that many. You will be surprised how many other developers follow into this boat. As powerful as the press can be, there are thousands of games for them to cover. The chances of a substantial amount of coverage for an indie game is pretty slim. Recent trends have also shown that traditional press does not have the impact on a game's success that it used to. I am not trying to take away the value of press. However, it is not the gold ticket some of us may expect. If you want to target groups of people that you think will be likely to go out and purchase your game, then you need to target the areas and hashtags you think they will be focused on. Most gamers will probably not be looking at #GameDev. They are far more likely to be looking at #Gaming. However, #Gaming can be an oversaturated audience to target. Therefore, you stand a much better chance of targeting smaller groups, where you are more likely to get noticed. This also provides the added impact of being able to focus in on and which, with Game Empire, I regularly post to #Fitness on Twitter, and when it comes to Reddit, I am quite active in the Tycoon subreddit. This has provided a much richer and more engaged audience for me to interact with and has led to the Chronic Button Discord server seeing a nice flow in traffic from these social groups. The problem of building a solid and committed community interested in your work still remains. Twitter does enable people to follow you, but in my experience, the interaction on Twitter is a lot more disposable and not all that personal. Creating a personal bond with your followers is a key component to building a community of die-hard fans that will buy your games and spread the word of your awesomeness. It should be noted that it is incredibly important to ultimately point this community to the one place you have total control over, your blog. I discussed this in a different post on my blog, and thoroughly recommend you do not miss this vital step. See what I did there. However, that is a separate topic. A great social network to start to build that die-hard community is YouTube. As indie developers, we are very familiar with YouTube and the marketing potential it holds for our games. The first thing most developers think of when they think of using YouTube is getting big streamers to play their games. This has shown huge results for a number of indie games, and is a great tool in our utility belt of marketing. However, getting big streamers to even read your emails is no easy task. Also, current trends have shown a change in the impact of these videos on sales. It seems that viewers are less likely to buy a game now just because their favorite YouTuber is playing it. Another option developers go for are creating their own channels. and uploading development vlogs and streams. This is another great option to engage with your community and provide a more involved perspective for your fans. However, it still falls into the category of primarily interacting with other developers. Most channels about game development are going to appeal to fellow game developers. This is great if you are looking to help others out, showcase your skills, and gain the respect of the community, possibly leading to job offers.